So today I thought we would address a common problem by all landscapers, gardeners, nursery owners, everyone, and that is weeds. So often having an understanding of weeds is beneficial to how we control them. So being able to correctly identify and know a weed's habit can be very useful. So I've got with me here today 5 examples of weeds that I've got. We are very fortunate here that we have a pretty good control on the weeds here in the nursery, but there is always a few that sneak through. So I've just walked around and found what I could on weeds, and these are common ones that we need to keep on top of here. So first one I've got here is willow weed, or willow herb actually. So there's actually willow herb and willow weed are two different but related weeds. The willow herb seems to be the most common, and yeah, you find this guy everywhere. They are very hard to control with likes of sprays, etc., if you're doing it on a commercial scale. And but in the garden they are very, very easy to pull out. They've got very shallow roots, so they just pretty much sit in the top of the soil there. And yeah, that is the best way to control them, is just get them out, particularly before they've set seed. Otherwise the seeds will just blow around and you'll have the same problem over and over again. Good rule of thumb with weeds is that if you let them set seed and those seeds disperse, it'll take you about 7 years to get rid of them. So getting rid of them straight up is very, very beneficial with the time. So yeah, that's willow herb. It's got a distinctive red stem, and those leaves, it's got quite distinctive veining in the leaves as well. So yeah, pretty easy to tell them. Most people will know what these are. Next one here is groundsel. So again, extremely common. This one is what they call an ephemeral weed. So it means that it will reproduce multiple times during a year. So whereas most weeds are annual and some even biennial, which I've got an example here shortly we'll talk about. But yeah, these groundsel and a few others will actually reproduce multiple times during the year. So again, one that you've really got to keep on top of. This is quite a big one that's got away on us. They do get quite a bit bigger than this too, but yeah, they have got just heaps and heaps of flowers and eventually seeds on them, and they just spread and germinate very, very rapidly. So another easy one to keep on top of just by pulling them out. The weeds do get a bit bigger and bulkier, so if you can get them when they're young, they're very easy to pull out. But if you leave them a bit, they will anchor down a bit deeper. And this is a favourite of the white butterfly. So in spring, summertime, you'll see these covered in black caterpillars. So another good reason to get rid of them. It's just one less thing for the white butterflies to feed on. Potentially you could, for example, in a veggie garden, potentially you could actually let these around your cabbages, etc. Might help draw them away from eating on your leaf vegetables. But yeah, for general gardens and particularly nurseries, landscapes, you don't want this guy around. Next one here is chickweed. So this is another very common one. Chickweed can be quite an easy one to get rid of too, because it looks like you might have a big mat of it like that, but this one that I pulled up was actually just one plant. So it just had one stem, so you get your fingers under there and you can actually lift out the whole mat. And so yeah, it comes away pretty easy. They do have a very thin stem where it attaches to the roots, so it's very, very easy to snap that stem off when you're pulling them out, which of course is unlikely to completely kill the plant. It'll just regrow again from that stem. So if you really want to get rid of it, it's helpful to have a little tool on hand just to dig in and get out the root material as well. But there's chickweed, and then there's also this one which is called mouse ear chickweed. And the way to tell them apart is the actual chickweed here has got just one line of hairs along its stem. So, and it's a little bit of a darker, the stems are a bit more dark purple as well. So this is the next one I was going to talk about, which is the mousehair chickweed. And yeah, so it's got much hairier leaves and stems, but pretty much same thing for both of them. They just spread along the ground, creep along the ground. Depending on how big the plant is, these can send out a whole lot of individual stems and roots, so it can be a little bit trickier to get rid of this one. But yeah, good one to get rid of. These do tend to set seed in autumn and germinate in autumn, so they're often a winter weed. So yeah, keep an eye out for that one. The last one on my list is called fleabane, which is an interesting name, but apparently if you crush the seeds, they will repel fleas. So not something I've ever tried, but and not sure how true that is. But anyway, it's a good story. So yeah, this is fleabane. Got quite distinctive serrated leaves, and I have with me a mature version of this, which is obviously now dead, but yeah, all those seeds are set. So this is a biennial, so this is what you'll see in year one, just this little rosette of leaves, and then year two it will send up this flower stalk, which as you can see is quite big. It's basically half my height, so it's probably roughly a metre tall, something like that. So yeah, and it does have quite a solid root system too. Even this little one here was tricky to pull out, and when they get to this big, to get this out I didn't have any tools with me, so I actually had to snap the stem off. That's how well rooted it was. So yeah, get them at that first stage when they're just still this big. If you let them get to this big, after 2 years, they're very hard to get out, and then of course you've got this huge amount of seed that's going to disperse everywhere on the wind and take up home elsewhere. So that is it for weeds today. If there's any other weeds you would like help with, please let us know. There is of course a heck of a lot more weeds than this that tend to grace our gardens, so we'll probably do another video later on with another set of weeds as well. But hope that was helpful, and yeah, catch up with you next time.